What's up, everybody? It's Austin, and today we are going to be working on the 2001 Ford Ranger again, and it's got a couple things already missing from it, but let me tell you about that before we get too far into this project.
Man, ooh, look, rock.
This 2001 Ford Ranger, again, like I mentioned in the previous video, it's got that 2007 4.0 V6 Mustang engine in it now, and I don't have any fuel pressure. Now, I was going, and I already did, and I didn't bring you guys along with me, gonna check the fuel pump voltage. I was gonna check the voltage at the fuel pump. What I checked first, and again, I'm sorry I didn't bring you with, there is an inertia switch down here in the floorboard of this Ranger, right down up. You probably can't see, it's really dark, but there's an inertia switch down there. Sometimes those get tripped and you don't have your fuel pump going, so those get tripped in like an accident or something like that. But the plug to get to the fuel pump is down back there underneath the bed. You can get it from underneath. It is extremely hard to check your meter as well as check the voltage. So I've opted to take the bed off the back of the truck. Now, this truck, I have to unplug the tail light wiring, and it looks a little crusty, so I'm gonna have to clean that up. I'm gonna take the tail lights out. We already have the tailgate taken off, and I have the grill taken off because I have the battery on a charger, and there's a little step behind the grill that I can put the battery charger on. So I had got this truck Line-X'd, the protective coating from Line-X done, and I paid cash, okay? I think it cost me like $300 cash for the bed, and then another $150 for my little running boards. So I got those done, paid cash. It was again $450, $500 out the door, and they went over the bolts. So I'm gonna have to cut the Line-X off from this, but what I'm gonna do is I have a propane torch. I'm gonna heat up just a regular blade, and I'm gonna put a nice edge on it so that when I take that top off, I can put the bolt back on and hopefully seal the Line-X down with the bottom of the bolt. Now we'll see if that works, but we have to start getting the taillights out so that, you know, they don't get damaged if the bed falls over. Let me put you guys up on a tripod, and I'm going to start working on that real quick. I will get back with you here in just a second. Alrighty, so I got the tail lights off, and I had to take these two bulbs out just because the clips weren't playing nice, and well, got some corrosion on them, and they're going to be replaced. That's why I'm touching the bulb. They need to get replaced. Same with this side. In fact, I think before we put everything back together, I'm just going to check all of the rear tail lights just to make sure that they're good to go. But let's go ahead and try to get these, or the Line-X, cut off from the top of these bed bolts. Okay, so I got my torch set up down to the bottle. Got my little starting torch, vice grips with a blade in it. I'm gonna get some gloves on as well so heat doesn't transfer into my hands through the vice grips. Blade came from a old work utility knife. Don't need that. Important to have whenever you're messing with fire or anything flammable, make sure you have a fire extinguisher. Always a good idea. So I'm gonna get some gloves on. I'm gonna get this started up, and we are going to cut the Line-X off the top of these bolts so that we can get this bed off the back of this truck. So we got one of them off, and I would say it came out pretty decent. Got the cap off. Well, it's not even really cap, it's literally more Line-X. But I'm gonna get the rest of these off. Then we're gonna get the bolts taken out. And then we're gonna take this bed off. So we got the Line-X stripped away from the top of the bed bolts, and we're gonna be taking those out here in just a second. But I do think using the heat to warm up the blade to melt some of it off was a good idea, with the exception of the fumes. Now, I'm in a pretty well ventilated area, but I still had to stop for a second and back away from the project just because, well, it started to have a really bad smell. Lesson learned. Probably should have been wearing a respirator. Now I know. But we're gonna get the Torx to get these out. That set doesn't have one. I'll have to see if I either have one up in the barn or if my grandfather has one. We're gonna check that here in a second, but you guys will see us taking this off and hopefully diagnosing what the issue is with this truck. So we should be at the point of no return. We have all of the bolts loose, or at least I hope they are. And we had one little mishap, and that's right here. So it looks like the rust got to a little bit of the body, or at least the bracket to where the bed hooks on to the frame. We're gonna have to double check that. If it's part of the frame, we might have to reinforce it, cut a section out, reinforce it. But this truck was an East Coast truck. It did go through salty winters and sweaty summers. So, if anything, there might be a little bit of fab work that needs to be done. We'll have to see. And don't forget, if you have one of these, don't forget to take the filler neck loose from the bed, because we don't want to rip the filler neck off the tank. That would be a no-go. So we're going to get this hopefully taken off. Actually, I think that's attached. Yeah, that's good. We don't have to get this loose. But, looks like there's some rub in here. Well, there's a couple things we'll need to look at once we get underneath here. And I'm hoping there isn't, it was just a bracket. But we'll find that out here in just a second. Let's get the bed of this truck off. So for me, it's a new day. You guys just saw the bed come off the back of the truck, and the bed looks like it's in, honestly, still really good condition from the last time I took it off. Definitely needs a bath underneath there. This will be a perfect time to do that. We did, however, find some rust that needs to be fixed here on the back of the frame. This is where one of the clips for the bed bolts usually just clips in right there, but well, it's not clipped in anymore. So we're gonna cut both sides down about halfway and get some steel put in there for it. So I have the leads into my connector, and I have the multimeter on. Go ahead and turn it on, please. All right, we've got a constant 12 volts. So that means that our pump was bad, wasn't getting any, well, the pump just wasn't turning at all. So that's what our issue is. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn that off. So let's get that changed out, and in the next video we will be working on the back of the frame, getting that cut out and fixed up, and then we'll rust reform the back half or the back section of this frame, and we'll clean off the bed and we'll put everything back together, and maybe, just maybe, we might have a little bit of fun without the bed on the truck, but we'll have to see. So stay tuned. And let's get that pump out of there. So now that we know that the connector is getting good voltage, let's get the pump taken out of the tank and we'll get that new one put in. So let's go ahead and try to hit up a couple auto parts stores to see what we can get and what prices we can get for the pump for this 2001 Ford Ranger. And I've already looked a little bit and it's kind of pricey. But let's see what we can find out. And $79 later, ah, yes. What's in box number 1? Alrighty. That is our inline fuel filter. Looks good, looks new. Alrighty. And box number 2. Oh, nice. Hope that wasn't breakable. Ooh, that's a pretty nice wrap job. Amazon special right here. Alrighty. And we got another ring gasket. Looks perfect. In fact, that filter looks a little bit bigger than the one that's on the truck now. Alrighty. Perfect, perfect. Now we just got to go get this thing thrown in the truck. Okay, installed into the truck. So let's go ahead and head out there and get this thing installed. So before we get the fuel pump taken out of the tank, I've already gotten the ring loose from the tank, but I want to wipe off the surface of the fuel pump just so we don't get a ton of crud down in the tank. And as Chris Fix says, out with the old and in with the new. And just like that, everything, or the ring is back together. And all we gotta do is take these caps off, plug everything back in where it needs to go, and then we should have a working fuel pump, and hopefully this truck will be good to go. Let's hope. Let's cross our fingers, because I really do believe this was the only issue this truck had after doing that engine swap. So I got to change out the fuel filter as well, and we will start it up here in just a second. Alrighty, now it's time, it's the moment of truth. We got the pump plugged up. I'll get everything squared away underneath there here in a second. I have a new fuel filter. Oh, it's in the frame rail. There's the old one. Alrighty. It's got 220,000 miles on that one. Let's see if it'll start up. Come on. Oh, yes. Yes, please. Oh, it's so close. Oh my gosh, it's so close. Ooh. Oh, I got something leaking up here. Okay, something wasn't connected right. Give me just a second, I'll be right back. Okay, I found another culprit in the fuel issue. There are no O-rings on that fuel line that go to that line goes up to the fuel rail. There should be one of those chemical or fuel resistant O-rings. I believe it's a green or nitrile. I don't remember. But there needs to be an O-ring on there because there's no fuel pressure, but it did start. So let me see if I can find one of those O-rings, and hopefully this thing will be good to go. I am so excited. I hear the pops, I hear the bangs. Well, not any bangs, because yeah, we don't want bangs, we want pops. All right, let me go find one of those O-rings. Let's get that put in there, and hopefully, this thing will start up this evening. It's getting dark out. We're almost there. Okay, so we got the O-ring back on that fuel line fitting there, that quick disconnect fuel line. So now it is the second try of starting this thing up after a year. Actually, it's been more than a year. Alrighty. Get some fuel pressure built up, hopefully. Wow. I think we might have a vacuum leak. Give me just a second. Okay. Still haven't figured out the issue with why it's not staying running. Well, again, this is an engine out of a completely different vehicle. Same, everything mechanically is the same, but a whole bunch of stuff had to be taken off and a whole bunch of stuff has to be put back on. So I'm sure there's a leak somewhere. Something's probably not clipped in where it needs to be. Something might even be unplugged. But that needs to be figured out, and I'm gonna leave it at that for right now. Still a little bit more to work on, but we're almost there. We're almost there. So I hope you all have a great day, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all in the next one.